LeBron, you might be looking at a roster moving forward with Larry Nance, Kevin Love, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson with a Nets pick coming in. That's not too bad.
It's not bad, man. And you know what? I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to say Dan Gilbert learned from his mistakes, but maybe he doesn't want to do the feast or famine bit again. Maybe he's like, you know what? Like, we've established basketball as like a popular sport in the city. If I can put out a relatively competitive product, maybe people will come through. And who knows, if I get Doncic, Porter, Trae Young, somebody in this draft, like, I can build my next LeBron. You'll never get LeBron. You'll never have an iconic figure like that. Like, that just doesn't happen.
But you don't need LeBron to win a title. Like that. It might feel like you do if you're a Cavs fan, but you don't need LeBron. I mean, if that Nets pick hits, if it becomes a number 3 pick, or even if it's a number 6 pick, that could be the guy that you build your next title contender with.
You need Kendrick Perkins, though. He's definitely a big part of all of this.
You also need Cedi Osman.
Yeah.
Cedi Osman. I'll never forget last summer, Joe Varden, Cleveland Cavaliers writer, wrote an article that he asked Ty Lue if he ever watched film of Cedi Osman, and he's like, nope.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what film he's seen of him? Last night. Because last night, after the game, he was like, I gotta play this guy. Wow, he's sick.
What took so long?
KOC,
you gotta self-scout your
I want to
roster.
let you go, but I want to ask you one more question. Does this Cavs team, does Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge, do they get to, do they have their like late afternoon walk through Boston Common together, and do they say, man, Cleveland's for real now, or are they like, we got these dudes?
I think they're probably feeling, oh, Cleveland's better, but well, there's more to come. I mean, who's going to get bought out? Will Memphis, think, you know what, we're not going to re-sign Tariq Evans, guess we have to buy him out. Joe Johnson could be on the way.
Yeah.
And they just signed Greg Monroe officially. If you're Boston, I think you look at Cleveland and think they're a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to add good players mid-season, and they added a whole bunch of guys. I mean, they got to build chemistry before April, May, and then Cleveland hopes June. There's no guarantees that the roster clicks in a way that it does on paper. This isn't NBA 2K.
Right. All right. Well, we'll be back in just a second. We're going to keep talking about the Cavs. We also want to talk about the Lakers, some of the buyout possibilities, and some of the smaller deals that got made in the margins. Thanks to Kevin. We'll be right back.
That was fun.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
All right. So is Chow or Concepcion here?
I'm here. Concepcion's in the back.
Okay.
You know what's the other thing about
I'll
Boston?
get started on winners and losers.
Is that maybe LeBron next year won't even be in the East.
Maybe not.
So it's like,
The Celtics are going to walk to the finals for like 5 years.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Chris.
That's
Oh
why
my
I should have
God.
Lakers.
When you say that, all I think about is like the Bulls. The Derrick Rose Bulls, and I'm like,
Yeah, right.
The Derrick Rose Bulls. What happened?
He's
He's going to the Timberwolves.
T-Wolves.
D-Rose?
Yeah. He's going to get bought out.
I think it already happened.
Putting the band back together.
All right, I want to get your Cavs thoughts, and then we can do a little bit of let Ntilikina thrive.
Let him live.
It was painful for Mavs to trade Devin Harris, says Tim McKay.
Give me a fucking break, guys.
God.
You all set? Kyle? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we are back.
Let's go.
With the NBA, the NBA Spice Lord. It's like Dune. It's Jason Concepcion.
Yes.
Spiciest day in a while. Jason, just give me your thoughts, like off the bat, on like this whole Cavs tear it down, build it back up again.
Arrakis, desert planet, home of the spice. It's truly shocking. I think, the NBA has become such like an year-round league. I think it's kind of rote to say that now, but this kind of thing it's truly wild.
Yeah.
Just like the need to take advantage of LeBron's window. This is like a knock-on effect of the 1+1 deals that LeBron constantly signs and has pioneered, in fact, in order to maximize his leverage. This is incredible. They essentially traded the entire team.
Yeah.
Shouts to Justin Verrier.
They have, I've seen, I think Jason Lloyd or Joe Varden were tweeting about, like, they might only have 6 guys on Friday.
This is
I can't wait for this game.
They're not, the other guys aren't going to be available until Sunday, so they might go out there with, like,
I love this.
a bunch of Canton guys or whoever their G League team is.
and tonight I think it's the Lakers, and that's basic. Well, the Mavs play tonight, and the Knicks play tonight. So
The
it's
Lakers play
basically
the Thunder.
the only people. Yeah, that's basically the only people it affects. Teams it affects.
One of the great unwritten alternate timeline stories is like, what if the Cavs played tonight?
Yeah, it would be phenomenal. And what if like all the G League guys for the Cavs were incredible, like Jetty Osman were, and Tyler was like, wait.
Hold on.
Nobody told me these guys were good.
Maybe this is how they got Dan Gilbert to sign off on it. It's like, we're going to fuck over LeBron for a day, but then we're going to be good. Everyone's going to be fine.
What do you think goes on in Kobe Altman's mind right now? Like,
I mean,
this is his, like, trial by fire.
This dude is fucking flexing right now.
Yeah.
He's kicking
He's
back,
happy.
and he's just like, I fucking just got rid of Dwayne Wade.
I think
what
it's
up
an
now?
entire-
God, wouldn't
possible.
you be so fearful though? Because like Griffin was successful and then he like let him go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kobe Altman's going to be gone in 2 years.
Yeah,
that's
he's
the
not-
cycle.
Him
of
and Rich
Cavs
Cho are going to
GMs.
have a food blog. I think that it's entirely possible that the Cavs and to some extent maybe even the Clippers and maybe other teams we don't even know, Memphis.
Yeah.
There's a couple of teams out there where I'm like, I wonder if there are two front offices that work here. Like, I wonder if there's an owner making phone calls and a GM making phone calls, because with the Clippers, they seem to be going back and forth with like, let's remake this roster, but let's re-sign Lou Williams. You know, we're going to lose DJ for nothing, or we're going to keep a 30-year-old center who can't shoot free throws. Okay.
Charlotte.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no reason not to trade Kemba Walker, get off some of those deals, and start anew.
Right. And then with Memphis, who are going through an ownership something. They can't get Tyreek Evans, who all of a sudden was valuable for the first time in 5 years.
This is the most
They can't get anything for him?
That one is the one that perplexes me, because it's for basically all season, and certainly for the last several weeks, it's been like everyone has been saying Memphis has to trade Tyreek. Memphis has to trade Tyreek. It's just why everybody believes this. He's their piece, their one tradable piece.
Right.
They were shopping deals, lots of interest, and now they're like, oh, we can't. We need.
What are they? Yeah, they're like, what are they expecting? Like, oh, at least we get to unload his like
That's the
2
thing.
million
Yeah,
Well,
contract.
it's
that's
a
the
bit,
thing.
it's like they're trying to sell a used PS4 for retail. And this is the only time he's like, it's like a Marvin Williams situation essentially for Tyreek at
Yeah.
this point in his career.
But Haley, you wrote about this week, where there was like all these interesting guys who are now untradeable because they have 2015 contracts.
2016.
Well,
Summer of
yeah, and now it's
2016.
2000, and now
Yeah.
we're talking 2018 economics.
So many
So
bloated
Bazemore, where he is actually the wing that all these teams are like, we could use a little Bazemore out here, you know, like
Yeah,
a
he could
40%
have- he could
three-point
have helped
shooter.
A lot of teams. You brought up Philly.
Yeah, Oklahoma, like all these teams who are like, that would be nice, except you have to pay Kent Bazemore $20 million in 2 years, and that guy is basically a role player.
And the thing is like, Atlanta's trying to unload him. Earlier, there was reports that Travis Shank, is that how you
Shank,
pronounce
yeah.
it? Their new GM was like, hey guys, everyone's available except for our rookie,
Right.
John Collins. You can have anybody, like just send me a good deal. And nobody was calling him.
I feel like Tate might have actually written that statement for Travis Shank. He was like the only person who's like John the Baptist Collins is on third.
I think the thing with Tyreek, though, is I wonder how much the ability to just have to pay him immediately kind of factor in. And not only is he a free agent this summer, but he's also on a minimum, so you have restrictions in order to pay him if you have his rights. I think it's only 120%. So actually other teams can pay him more. And so I wonder if the Grizzlies got into a situation where they wanted a pick so badly, they wanted a first, that they were playing hardball, and then they finally got to the end of the line, and it's like, oh crap, we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just kind of the madness of the
but
deadline.
at the end of it, it's like at the very end, who couldn't you call realizing you couldn't get a first rounder and say like, oh, take this guy on, he's super cheap.
Well, maybe like Danny Ainge replied back, well, no, it's 5 minutes to the deadline.
Right.
You have a Selly, and that's it. Like, I don't know. This is how some things kind of fall apart.
Jason, I would be remiss if I let you go without talking about the Lakers. We don't have all of the incredible Rob Pelinka quotes at hand. When I checked in on the press conference, he was talking about remodeling a home. He was talking about how sometimes trades are win-wins, and you get to send Larry Nance back from whence he came, and that Jordan Clarkson gets to go to the playoffs now. I have not yet heard about how they feel. Isaiah Thomas. We talked earlier on the video about how Aaron Goodwin apparently hit up Rachel Nichols all caps and said Isaiah Thomas will not be coming off the bench, and then Luke Walton was like, we'll see about that. So let's talk about the Lakers. Are they, after all the tapping up allegations, after all the tampering allegations, Magic's not allowed to mention any NBA player name by name, but have they just set themselves up to make a run at LeBron and or Paul George this
I
summer?
mean, that's clearly their strategy, and it's the traditional Lakers strategy over the last 15 to 20 years, they're back. They're back selling Los Angeles real estate and trying to get big name guys. I think one of the most exciting things that happens right now in the NBA is Magic Johnson in front of a live mic.
Yes.
I was waiting for him to be like, and this is a great move for us because, hey, LeBron James and Paul George, and then just like hearing like cash register sounds go as like he names dudes. This is clearly they're in the market for stars.
Yeah.
This is what they've always been doing. I think one of the subplots to watch is the Isaiah starting situation. Is he going to start? Come off the bench behind Lonzo? What's LeVar going to have to say about that?
Apparently, Magic and Rob said, they think he can play with Lonzo and
Sure.
mentor him.
That's
Ooh.
fantastic.
Guys, what's
a
the
take.
opposite of Dead Poet Society? Because that is Isaiah Thomas.
Imagine that your mentors being LeVar Ball and Isaiah Thomas.
Lordy. And Kuz just taking
And Coach
snapshots.
just roasting you
Yeah,
every
I know,
day
all day,
for not knowing
every day.
anything about American history.
Listen, as Jason was alluding to, the Lakers have been selling this for so long. You
A
have
long time.
5 months until July 1st. First of all, you better fucking get this right.
Yes.
And second
Yes.
of all, you better have an IMAX movie
You know
ready
what, though?
to sell
You know what,
LeBron
though?
James.
What if they don't get it right? Is Genie Bus really going to fire Magic Johnson?
I honestly don't think they necessarily have to sign a big name this summer. I'll tell you why. I'm serious.
Okay.
Because this is exactly why Bus hired them in the first place. She was like, "Look, my brothers haven't been doing it. Like, you guys have to at least set us up to be the Lakers of old. Like, we at least have to have the chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like it's their first year. Okay, like give them time. They've at least done this. They've at least created the opportunity. And at the end of the day, eventually, it's Los Angeles.
Yes.
If it's not this summer, it's going to happen next summer. If
They'll
not-
at least come out of this with Klay Thompson in 2 years or something like that. And you know
This
what?
is
You're right.
exactly why they signed him.
And they have been doing a good job. Like the problem with these guys is they have the franchise history hanging over them.
Yes.
So they can say we want
Yes.
to build the right way. We want to be like Boston. We want to have this deep bench of interesting guys who could be assets or could become real contributors. But like the recent history of this team, specifically the Dream Team, is going to hang over them. And so everybody is always going to assume that Rob and Magic are constantly on the verge of basically being like, do we have to give LeBron James like half of the city to come here, whatever it takes?
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they have like a more elaborate and elegant plan in place. I don't know.
I don't think they have a plan, just to be clear.
I think the danger is if they strike out on George and LeBron, that they then go bargain shopping and
Yes.
spend too much money.
Yes.
That's the classic free agency
Right.
mistake.
Right.
You miss out on the top tier guys, and now you're looking.
Or
at
they make the
Jabari
same
Parker and
mistake
going,
with Paul
"Hmm."
George that Indiana
Right.
did, which is thinking that he could be the only, like the number one guy on
Right.
the team when he really is the 1A. He's Scotty. Before I let you go, really quick, Moutier to the Knicks. The deal was, Denver, New York, and Dallas agreeing on a 3-way deal. Sources tell ESPN, Moutier to the Knicks, Devin Harris to Denver, Doug McDermott to Dallas. On one hand, New York's making themselves a clearinghouse for your distressed assets.
Sure.
On the other hand, what are you doing with Frankie if you're bringing Moutier in?
That's the issue. Like, is he going to play behind Moutier? Can they play together? What does this do to his development? I guess like the way you talk yourself into this is, hey, you basically got the 7th pick in the 2015 draft. Great.
Yeah.
That of course negates the fact that in that intervening time, Moutier has shown himself to be bad.
Yeah.
So,
Small
it just all comes down to development. Can the Knicks develop young players? The eternal question.
History says no.
History says no. History says no, they can't. And it's also, I'm getting some bad like Hornacek and Phoenix with too many point guard vibes. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
The Scott Perry coming out and saying, I'll evaluate the coach at the end of the season is, I would rent if I were you, Jeff Hornacek. Right.
Yikes.
Time to get on Zillow, my guy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to talk a little bit more about the crazy trade deadline that was.
I didn't know he said that.
Let's bring Paolo and Danny out for to wrap it
Thanks,
up.
guys.
What?
Thank you.
How much time have we done? Thank you, Haley.
Yeah.
So we're 20, 30? All right, 10 more. Yes.
Kev loves it. That's all he wanted to talk about up here. Whatever you want.
Alfred Payton's hair. That's all I care about.
Oh my god, my back is fucking killing me. Ready? All right, guys, we're gonna get going again. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we're wrapping up NBA group chat, but we couldn't do it without bringing on Danny Chow and Paolo Uggetti to join us. I'm still here with Justin. Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
What's up?
I'm shaking, but I think it's because I'm just extremely hungry.
Yeah.
I think the I've kind of worn off.
I had to
on
steal one of
because of
Colin's
George
protein
Hill?
bars. Yeah.
Not because of George Hill.
You're the George Hill. You're
look,
the chief. You're John the Baptist of the George Hill Church.
Correct. And I told John Gonzalez earlier that George Hill is one of my favorite players of all time, and he just shot me a look like I was just completely batshit.
But
But he's not wrong.
okay. So what's the ceiling then with the Cavs with George Hill?
Oh, it's not anything. Look, I love him as a player. I love him. He's a great perimeter defender. Guy can switch basically 3 positions because his arms are like 8 feet long for a guy who's only 6'3". Great 3-point shooter. I think Haley's covered all of this, but to be honest,
I think he might be kind of washed.
What's the hunting scene like in Cleveland?
Ohio
Big
gets
bucks?
real. You can, outside of Cleveland, you can go 2 hours one way or another and get
know
to a national
nothing about
park.
their landscape.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Take him to another level. Just saying.
Of the other players included in that Cleveland, the Cleveland Haul that they got, who's the most interesting person? Is it Clarkson? Is it Nance? Is it Rodney?
It's Rodney Hood.
Okay.
He's the best player who was acquired in the trade deadline, and I think this is the chance for him to show what he can do because he's going to be a restricted free agent this coming summer. He was playing in Utah with 2 extremely tall men who couldn't space the floor. There was no space really for him to do what he does best, which is kind of create off the dribble. He could shoot off the dribble, which is something that you just don't really get with wings nowadays. And even then, he was coming night. bench averaging almost 17 points a game.
Yeah, and he's capable of really going off and getting
Right.
a 30-point
I agree with Danny, but I'm kind of intrigued also by Nance, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this. Like, he brings a level of athleticism that I think the Cavs were kind of missing.
Sure.
And he's just a scrappy guy. Like, and he's already buying into it. Like, I mean, his dad played for the Cavs, and he put an Instagram up just now being like, "Oh, I'll be forever grateful to the Lakers," and he hashtag it just the kid from Akron. But come on, like, he's already buying into the bit.
Sure.
I love it.
The
So
land.
I'm intrigued by Nance.
I have something I want to bounce off of you.
Okay.
Does LeBron James make teammates better?
Yeah.
He does?
I mean, maybe not like their confidence and like long term, just because of all the subtweets and shade that he throws out.
Okay.
Like Kevin Love is probably like gonna need therapy for years, but
Right.
I think overall, like he's the guy that's just gonna accelerate your offense for sure. I mean, even in the playoffs.
So there's no danger that we've reached a point where like LeBron is almost in this Kobe zone of it's like LeBron Incorporated and like it's really more about like what LeBron does on a night-to-night basis. And for as much as he's like, I'm invested in this team in the short term and the long haul for this year, whatever the hell that means, that a bunch of these new faces are going to come in and LeBron does the math in his head and is like, yeah, this isn't going to work this year.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of open shots, and that's what we were kind of saying about some of the other options going into the deadline, what we were saying about IT and some of these other guys. Like, you just need to sit there and you need to shoot it. And to a large degree, the Cavs couldn't get that right because a lot of these guys, their legs weren't there. They were past their prime. And, like, we got to the point in that Orlando game, you said this the other day, LeBron didn't trust any of them to do anything.
Yes.
And so he was just trying to go ISO LeBron, and he was getting D'd up by young Birch.
I think everyone they acquired today knows what their role is going to be on the Cleveland
Danny's
Cavaliers.
getting me fired up for
So,
the Cavs.
The Cavs are going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Look, are they going to challenge the Warriors? No. Are they better than the Celtics or Raptors right now? I don't think so.
Ooh,
But-
Raptors.
But I think like
I
there's
knew you were
just
gonna
so
do it.
many. Like we were so worried about how Isaiah would fit in right away with the Cavs when he came back. What's not to say that you're adding a bunch of it's like Isaiah's situation. Granted, they weren't injured, but to another degree because you're gonna have to mix in so many new players. Like I'm kind of worried about that in general.
Yeah, just okay, so the interesting comparison point, we've talked about this a little bit, would have been Oklahoma. Oklahoma took, 30 games to start clicking. The defense was working, but they were blow games late. There was a lack of clarity about how their end of game offense was going to work. Is Russ going to move the ball or is he going to go ISO Russ like he did last season? And they seem to have figured out some of that. They always seem to rise to the occasion in big games, but can't seem to take care of business when it's just like beating the Kings or whatever or something like that. With Cleveland, how many games do they need to integrate what is essentially an entirely new roster? And what is this? What kind of test is this for Ty Lue to do this? This is training camp and the beginning of the season in the second half of the season.
I think that's a good point. I think the detractors would say, man, Ty Lue really needs to figure this out. He needs to get these guys in there. On the other hand, they pretty much just run pretty basic stuff anyway. Right. So you could just throw guys in. It's almost like Alvin Gentry does, where it's a lot of it's just based on pace, it's spacing, it's just like dribble handoffs and spread pick and roll sort of stuff. You just run a lot of basic stuff. I think these guys are versatile enough. George Hill, Rodney Hood, as Danny alluded to. A lot of these guys could run can be the ball handler, could set some off-screen ball screens. I think a lot of it makes sense.
I feel like the blueprint here is when, the Cavs acquired Channing Frye. He comes in and he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to be
stand at the top of the key.
Pick and pop guy, and it worked perfectly. And that's still what he does. Nothing's changed.
The Warriors have an incredible offense. They have all these different combinations they can throw at you. But essentially, when you get down to it, those three guys are unguardable by five guys, right? So that's the proposition that the Cavs are hoping to make. That if George Hill, Rodney Hood, LeBron James, and Kevin Love are on the floor, you can't guard all of them. Right. And one of those guys will get their basket or at least get a good look.
Right. And it goes back to exactly what Isaiah Thomas wasn't doing, which was making shots. Like He was shooting 30% from
There's
the field.
no gravity. He was pulling no gravity
from
off
three.
The
so if George Hill and Rodney Hood can shoot even just a little better than that, then the offense should work better.
Do you guys have any smaller deals you want to highlight before we go?
Absolutely. The Suns and Magic traded for a swap between Elfrid Payton and a second rounder. And this is clearly a huge win for both teams. One, because Elfrid Payton was basically ruining
the Magic.
Whatever the Magic were trying to do. You can't have a ball dominant point guard who can't shoot in today's league and expect to be anything more than a cellar dweller. But on the other hand, the Suns were starting Tyler Ulis, who is the smallest player in the NBA, possibly with the frailest frame. And their backup was a guy named Josh Gray, who paid $150 to do an open run tryout at the G League.
I did not know that.
He is their second string guy because Isaiah Cannon.
Didn't they have 11 point guards in the league?
And
where's Brandon Knight?
All atrophied.
Have we heard from him in a year?
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, just has anyone checked on him?
Yeah, no, I read a USA Today article about him or Arizona Republic article about him the other day. He's like, I'm getting there.
And so coming back. You drop in a top 10 pick, albeit one who is very bad, but he is better than Ulis at least.
This is the Brooklyn thing. It's like, hey, bring us your distressed first round lottery picks.
Look, it gives Elfrid a chance to redo his entire image.
Yeah.
What if he just pins his hair back? This is the suggestion.
That's all I care about.
Jason
That's all
Concepcion.
I care about.
You pin that flap of hair back, and suddenly he either looks like a British sentinel, or you know what? It might look like a pope hat the way it's shaped.
Right. Yeah.
Dub himself the young pope.
Change the look of his
The
career
young
as well.
pope. That's a great
Pope.
nickname.
That's a good nickname.
Paolo, before we go, any deal, either a small deal that you liked or a deal that didn't happen that mystifies you? Like, why didn't this get?
I mean, it's too easy to say Tyreek Evans not getting dealt. I mean, the reports are coming out that basically they had multiple offers from not just from somebody like Denver who offered Moutier and a second round pick, and apparently they just wanted more. I just don't understand what they were looking for. I mean, Jason talked about the PS4 analogy and all that. It's just. It makes no sense. Like, what are you going to do with Tyreek Evans? There's so many teams who were willing to give you something for him. Like, this is as high as the stock is going to get. It's just going to drop from here on out. There's no point.
I think the ripple effects are super interesting.
Yeah.
You look at the teams that didn't do anything. The Rockets and the Thunder are pretty much involved in every deadline. I can't remember the last time the Rockets didn't swing some little trade. Right. And you wonder, we talked about 2018 this summer just being just kind of a chilled market because no one's going to have cap space. And, sure, maybe this is best for them long term. But I think it opens up really interesting questions. Why didn't they do one thing? Are the Rockets
I think it's because they read Zach Cram.
yeah, exactly.
You don't need to make a move.
Yeah.
But if you're a finals contender.
Hey, if LeBron isn't going to go to the Lakers, maybe the Rockets based on not doing anything, have more moves. I also wonder about the bottom of the West.
Yeah.
The Pelicans all of a sudden look very vulnerable because the Clippers still have DJ. They still have enough.
They still have Avery Bradley. There was a rumor this morning that they were looking to trade him for Danny Green and a pick.
Yep.
Which was like, it's just like, I can't believe that Popovich would do that, and he didn't. So.
I mean, in that sense, the Warriors are kind of winners. I saw somebody point this out because Avery Bradley didn't go to either the Spurs or the
That's
Thunder.
a really good point.
And I mean, that's just. He would have given Steph or anybody trouble on that team. So just the fact that nobody even like tried to one up or get that guy on their team is just like kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, I didn't even thought about that. That is good. I mean, like I think that that Boston and Toronto are going to have to say, okay, like we're going to have to do a whole new like scouting run on these new Cavs. And in a 7-game series against LeBron James, anything can happen, as we've seen over and over again. But it will be an interesting challenge to see its continuity versus completely new rosters in the Eastern Conference. Any closing thoughts? Any other check out this or make sure you keep your eye on that going forward?
Rodney Hood, man.
Rodney Hood. I love it. Rodney Hood is the best player traded on trade deadline as a take.
That's a good take.
Pistons also got James Ennis, which I think is like a sneaky good one at the buzzer, just because like they need
Jameer.
some help.
And Jameer, I like Jameer on that team.
Well, yeah, we'll see about that.
Come on. Little Orlando Magic nostalgia, of
There
course.
you go.
I like the buyout market. I mean, everybody's been talking about how like it's going to be robust and going to be guys out there. You have like Joe Johnson,
Derrick Rose,
who's apparently going to go.
Maybe Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, maybe Isaiah Thomas, even though the Lakers said they don't have plans on buying him out. Brooke Lopez, Corey Brewer, even Joakim Noah. Anybody want to give him a chance?
He seems like a classic, like decrepit person to go be on the Thunder. So take the Kendrick spot. All right. Thank you to Danny, to Paolo, to Justin, to Haley, to Jason Concepcion, and to Kevin O'Connor. I'm Chris Ryan. You can read all about NBA trade deadline today on theringer.com. We have tons of pieces up there. I'm sure we'll have more pods. We have tons of video. Check it out. It was a hell of a day. We will be tracking the ripple effects from this trade deadline for the rest of the season.
You're welcome, guys.
All right, I got to do the ads. And then I got to plug my computer in. I did not.
Kyle Collinsworth. Do you know who that is?
Nope. Oh no, he's Dallas.
Mavs signed him through a 3-year deal. There you go. Rest of the season guaranteed.
Fucking shit show.
You know who didn't go? Fucking Nerlens.
Oh, he'll get
Kyle,
bought
you all
out.
set?
Yeah.
That's a good bought out.
All right, I just got to do the pre's.
Cavs.
Maybe that should be your column. What about Nerlens though?
Okay, so pre-roll is okay. Hey guys, before we get started with today's episode of NBA Group Chat, I wanted to tell you about a little bit. Hey guys, before we get started with today's episode of NBA Group Chat, which is obviously entirely focused on the NBA trade deadline today, we did want to tell you the Olympics are coming. And while you're at theringer.com reading about the trade deadline, do yourself a huge favor and read staff writer Katie Baker's piece on the Shib Sibs, a brother-sister figure skating duo who will be competing in the Winter Olympics. Katie is one of my favorite writers when it comes to writing about any kind of cold weather sports. Be it hockey, be it figure skating, whatever. Bakes is also one of my favorite writers, just full stop. Also, the revamped Heat Check is on Mondays. We had one this week on a Tuesday. John Gonzalez is hosting, and it's basically the entire basketball staff in these short little bursts talking about single topics. Tuesday's episode was awesome. Heat Check is on Mondays with John Gonzalez and the deep bench of NBA experts at the Ringer Sports, so check those things out. Let's get to the show. Here's the mid-roll for Pro Flowers. Today's episode of the Ringer NBA show was brought to you by Pro Flowers. Today's episode of the Ringer NBA show is brought to you by Pro Flowers. Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries have teamed up to help you really impress your Valentine this year with their perfectly paired collection. Go ahead and think inside the box this Valentine's Day. This really is a one-of-a-kind gift. Sorry. I have to give a personal account of this. Today's episode of the Ringer NBA show is brought to you by Pro Flowers. Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries have teamed up to help you really impress your Valentine this year with their perfectly paired collection. Go ahead and think inside the box this Valentine's Day. This really is a one-of-a-kind gift. Look, I love flowers. I love to give flowers. There's nothing that says I love you like flowers. But you know what is also a dope gift? Fruit dipped in chocolate.
I gave one to Danny Chow.
Did
just
he
the other
appreciate
day.
that?
Oh yeah, he loves dipped chocolate.
He just made a chef's kiss. No, seriously, like especially if you've been in a long-term relationship, flowers.
Like me with Danny.
That's right. Flowers are nice, but it's like the chocolate-covered strawberries are a real like gesture of love. Take it from me. I've been in a long-term relationship. I currently am in one too, by the way.
You're married, yes.
Sorry. Your flowers and dipped strawberries will arrive together in a beautifully designed special box that will keep your flowers fresh and your berries cold, guaranteed. And right now, our listeners can save 20% on any one of the perfectly paired combinations or any other gift over $29 with the promo code RINGER. Hurry up and order today. Valentine's Day is next week. There's only one way to get 20% off a perfectly paired gift over $29, featuring beautiful blooms from Pro Flowers and freshly dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries. Visit proflowers.com today and enter promo code RINGER at checkout. That's proflowers.com, promo code RINGER. And mid-roll is ZipRecruiter too. Hey guys, today's episode of the Ringer NBA Show is also brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? The Cavs are. The Cavs didn't use ZipRecruiter. They used Kobe Altman, but they could have used ZipRecruiter and they could have maybe got Rodney Hood in the process. Posting your position to job sites and waiting for the right people to see it. That's not a good way of doing business. ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way, so they built a platform that finds the right job candidates for you. ZipRecruiter learns what you are looking for, like a swing forward who can play both ways, and identifies people with the right experience and invites them to apply to for your job. These invitations have revolutionized. Sorry, that's probably these innovations. These innovations have revolutionized how you find your next hire. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. And ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications. And ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match. The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter is how you find them. Businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. Right now, Ringer NBA Show listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/RingerNBA. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RingerNBA. One more time, ZipRecruiter.com/RingerNBA. ZipRecruiter. It's the smartest way to hire. No post rolls, right? Thanks.
Dope.
Do you need me to do anything else?
Force Dion? Fly out?
Yeah.
Okay. Where was he?
Sign me up.
France. God.
JFC.
I need him back so I can talk to him about Pops One.
Perfect.
Ice.
Hey. I don't know if you can come with that yet.
I love it. I can't?
I don't know.
Very nice one.
No, so
I guess none of us are.
you know what the real story of that is that I started signing as ICE on emails because it's nickname I've gone by, but also because I like answer emails while I'm driving and it's just shorter. It is dangerous. Thanks, guys. It is dangerous.
Hey, nice job.
But
Don't do that, Isaac. Stop. I used to have a friend in like a friend in high school on Snapchat, and just like do selfies all the time. And every time he did it, I would say, Joffrey.
his name was Joffrey.
Yeah, but he Snapchat and John at the same time. Like literally every time it's a funny message.
No, can you send me a picture for my birthday next year? Just send me a little breaking news feed for my birthday.
Breaking news, happy birthday. When is your birthday, Colin?
Oh, it's not for a long time. Just early.
Wait, when is it though?
In December.
Yeah, you got a whole year figured out. Okay, I'll think about it.
The greatest gift I can get.
I'll go for
We'll
it.
go through 15 drafts. We'll go through the copy desk.
I'll go for it, Colin. That's my goal. I'll put it on. I'll delete it on Facebook now.
Oh, great. So, yeah, I was just like on the charts. Okay. I mean, here's a good point, but it's like a little pretentious to be like, we're the professors, and you're the students. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think,
So
I think.
we need to be self-aware. Like, it needs to be a joke. Of
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I think
So we decided, so it went down again. We're using the custom R2 again, and it went down again, Facebook and Periscope. And then we decided the whole time we're not sure about it. We were testing the API.
Oh no, I 100% agree. I think isn't it kind of heard that it's joking?
I would hope so. But let's make it, let's like, tonally, let's make that short. Like, it's so sarcastic. Kidding. Yes.
questions going forward?
A lot of second rounders.
Yeah, it could be. I'll think more about this after.
Biggest questions going forward.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or we can do a survey.
I think those
Oh, yeah.
Surveys is Charlotte. But if not,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I'll send you guys emails. I think there's pizza.
Oh, yeah. I think that-
That's the way I think about it. We're all
Yeah, we're all learning.
Yeah. Bailey. Here, you want the rest of it on
When you're live.
That's actually hilarious. The sign left one here, and I was like, oh, I still got some. That's that it? No, the green one's not yours, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're all in a class. We're all in a class.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can even say that out loud, like, hey, you know, bring your PO class to the roster, then yeah. Yeah. What could, when you bring on Dan, what should Dan?
Could you be the teacher? Are you like a professor?
I could, yeah.
Like could you almost be like a character of like, okay,
I'll grade you,
okay,
you know what?
okay, class, now we're gonna talk about this.